So in light of the new Superman trailer for the upcoming movie releasing July 11th later this year, there's been a lot of discourse among fans on who should be the Batman of the new universe. And the common consensus is that it should be the current on-screen Batman, Robert Pattinson, as not only did the movie do well financially, it was also a hit critically and has a sequel in the works. So it makes sense, right? You have what works, so why take a gamble and try something different? Well, there's another side of the fan base that thinks otherwise. They think that the DCU should introduce a brand new Batman, which we've never seen before and have to get used to all over again after the most recent successful on-screen depiction was going on 3 years ago. Their reasoning is that the Matt Reeves Batman is way too realistic to be in the DCU, and that a more fantastical Batman is needed to fit into this new world, which is just a bunch of bloody to me. Just because The Batman is a more grounded movie than what the Superman trailer promises to give us, doesn't mean it can't work. Just because Reeves movies now seem like they exist in the DCU doesn't ruin them. I mean, all this crazy stuff can go on in the background of the first Batman movie, and it literally changes nothing. Green Lantern, Darkseid, Apocalypse, they can exist, but that doesn't have to affect the tone and style of these movies. If anything, it's a good thing, as James Gunn has explicitly stated that he wants different tones for different movies to make his universe feel bigger than something like the MCU, which nowadays, every movie feels the exact same with no variation, which they are rightfully changing. Another reason these fans have is similar to what I just addressed with the clash of tones. They say Matt Reeves' universe is too dark and gritty, while Superman looks more comic booky and colorful, and I'm convinced these people are just ignorant or have never picked up a comic in their life. That's literally the main appeal between Batman and Superman, is that Superman is a bright heroic Boy Scout, whilst Batman is a dark detective crime fighter. The dynamic works perfectly. There's no need to Superman Batman like they Batman Superman and Man of Steel just to make him fit. And there's no reason to make a whole new Batman, as the one we have here is already perfect. And another issue is the general audience. Think about it. The Batman is already beloved. It is just barely turning 3 years old. It has a possible trilogy lined up. And to introduce a new Batman in between that is a disaster waiting to happen, as this universe is already confusing enough. And for the general audience to be confused on which Batman is which will not make anything better. And lots of these fans like to say that just because James Gunn said to not underestimate the general audience once, that just magically means they'll know. Just because James Gunn said they would, it's just ridiculous. And not to mention hardcore fans like to pick sides. So there's already a divide in an already divided fan base before the universe has even truly started. So I don't get why you even bother attempting this, with the possibility of the general audience being confused, the fan base dividing itself, and having to compete with their own selves would be seen as a good thing. Just because some fans want to be stubborn and just hate on realistic Batman just because of the Oz Cobb situation, which just sent the fan base in a hissy fit. And besides, Pattinson and Cornsweet look so good together in concept art to the point it's scary. There's also some people who like the idea of these two merging together, but the problem lies with Pattinson not fitting in with the Justice League. But to me, that also plays a part in the appeal, because Batman's just a man. He's not supposed to fit in amongst these gods, yet he consistently proves time and again why he's the greatest superhero of all time, despite these things. And it'd be nice to see this detective noir Batman evolve into a more fantastical Justice League leading Dark Knight. And you have to get into the fact of recasting. We're already used to seeing Robert Pattinson behind the cowl, and to recast him and everybody else we've come to love is a foolish way to start this universe, especially considering that Robert Pattinson is becoming more of a star than he was during the first Batman movie, bringing more fame and attention to this universe than recasting someone like Alan Richardson, whom this side of the fan base loves to glaze more than he loves to take roids, but I digress. So with all that, do you think it's still a good idea to reintroduce us to already beloved characters and have to build them up whilst constantly being compared to yourselves, whilst holding a whole different franchise with the same characters turning fans against each other and general audience away from your universe just because you were mad because they shortened the Penguin's last name? Or should we stick to what already perfectly works and build a universe off set perfection? You be the judge.